I never believed in cursed phone calls. Unknown numbers, voices from nowhere. Just stories people tell to scare themselves, right? Campfire tales for a digital age. But that all changed one night. I worked as a night dispatcher for emergency services, the graveyard shift. It was a lonely job, tucked away in an old building with a phone system that felt like a relic from another time. It barely worked half the time, but you learn to adapt. You learn to stay calm. Most importantly, you learn to listen. That night was different. The city was eerily silent. No sirens wailing in the distance, no frantic calls for help. It was the kind of quiet that feels heavy, like the air before a storm. Then the silence shattered. The screen on my console lit up with a harsh glow. Incoming call, no caller ID. I picked up the receiver, my voice steady and professional. Silence. Not a dead line, but a heavy, listening silence. Then I heard it. Breathing slow, deep, and somehow wet. It was uncomfortably close to the receiver, as if someone was pressing their mouth right against the phone. A shiver ran down my spine, but I pushed it down. Sir, please state your emergency. I kept my voice firm. A few seconds passed, feeling like an eternity. A voice finally spoke, and the words froze the blood in my veins. It was raspy, a dry whisper that seemed to scratch its way out of the speaker. "You're already here." And then the line went dead. I stared at the phone, my mind racing. A prank call, teenagers messing around. It felt different. I frowned and turned to my computer to check the system logs. That's when things got really strange. The call log froze. A GPS pin. Call location. My apartment building. My stomach dropped like a stone in a well. It felt like all the air had been punched out of my lungs. This had to be a glitch, a system error. Before I could even begin to process it, to try and rationalize what I was seeing, the phone rang again. Same lack of a number. Same time displayed on the console. One of the security monitors on my desk flickered to life on its own. It wasn't showing the lobby or the parking lot. The screen showed a hallway. My hallway. I recognized the flickering overhead light. The ugly water stain on the carpet just outside my door. And then I saw it. My apartment door was wide open. "That's not possible," I whispered to the empty room. I had locked it. I always locked it. Double-checked it. The phone vibrated in my hand, a jarring buzz against my palm. The same whispery voice came through, but this time the question was even more chilling. "Why did you leave the door open?" I recognized the voice immediately. It was my voice. My own voice, distorted and cold, was talking to me from a place I couldn't understand. Panic finally broke through my professional calm. I slammed the office door shut, fumbling with the lock, my hands shaking. I backed away from the desk, my heart pounding so hard in my chest it made me dizzy. On the monitor, a figure stepped into the frame, emerging from the shadows of the hallway. It was tall, unnaturally thin. Its limbs were too long, its movements jerky and wrong. Its head was bent at a strange angle, as if it were listening intently for something. It had no face. Just a smooth, blank surface where features should have been. The phone in my hand crackled. A new message appeared on the console screen, the letters glowing in the dim light. Call transferred, cannot disconnect. The whispery voice, my voice, spoke again. You have 2 minutes. 2 minutes for what? I shouted into the phone, my voice cracking with fear. There was no answer. Just the low hum from the receiver. Then I heard footsteps. Not from the monitor. Not from the hallway outside my office. They were in the room with me. Behind me, I spun around, a scream caught in my throat. There was nothing there. The office was empty. I turned back to the desk, and my phone screen suddenly went black. But in its dark, reflective surface, I saw him. I saw myself, standing right behind me. A mirror image that wasn't mirroring my panicked expression. It was just standing there. I didn't turn around. I couldn't. I was paralyzed. The voice whispered from the phone's speaker, no longer a rasp, but a clear, calm, intimate sound right next to my ear. My own voice. If you turn around, you stay. A pause. If you don't, I go with you. And in that moment, a horrifying clarity washed over me. I finally understood. The calls weren't coming from a place, they weren't from my apartment or from some prankster. They were coming from a moment. The moment right before everything ends. Every dispatcher who had ever worked this shift in this old building, they had all received this call, and I knew deep in my bones that none of them had stayed in this job for long. The clock on the wall ticked over. 3:18 a.m. The lights in the entire building went out, plunging me into absolute darkness. The phone clattered from my numb hand onto the desk, and the call ended. I survived that night. But survival came with a price. Now, every single night at exactly 3:17 a.m., my phone lights up. No number, no sound. Just my own reflection staring back at me from the dark screen. And in that reflection, I'm smiling. So if you're listening to this late at night, if your phone is resting on the nightstand next to you, do yourself a favor. Don't check the time. You never know who might be calling. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to hear more stories from the other side. Stay safe out there.